The mountain exploded without warning. One second I was skiing down the pristine Swiss Alps. The next I was tumbling in a deadly river of snow moving at 80 mph. The avalanche caught our group of 6 experienced skiers completely off guard. I watched in horror as my friends disappeared into the white chaos before everything went black. I woke up in complete darkness, buried under tons of crushing snow. My ski helmet had created a tiny air pocket around my face, the only reason I was still breathing. Panic set in immediately. I couldn't move my arms or legs. The weight was unbearable, like an elephant sitting on my chest. My ribs felt cracked, and warm blood trickled down my forehead. The silence was deafening. No sounds from above, no rescue helicopters, nothing but my panicked breathing echoing in the tiny snow cave. I tried screaming for help until my throat was raw, but the sound barely traveled beyond my face. The cold was already seeping through my gear. I had maybe hours before hypothermia would kill me. Hour 6 brought the first wave of despair. My phone was crushed, my GPS beacon buried somewhere in the snow. I realized no one knew exactly where we had been skiing when the avalanche hit. The resort wouldn't even notice we were missing until evening check-in. By then, I'd be frozen solid. Conserving oxygen became critical. I forced myself to breathe slowly and shallowly, fighting every instinct to hyperventilate. The air pocket was maybe the size of a basketball, and I could feel it shrinking as my warm breath created ice crystals on the walls. Each breath contained less oxygen than the last. Day 2 was pure torture. Dehydration made my lips crack and bleed. I licked snow around my face, but it barely helped. My legs had gone completely numb. I couldn't tell if it was frostbite or just the crushing pressure. Hallucinations started as oxygen levels dropped. I saw my childhood dog, my grandmother who died years ago, even had full conversations with my college roommate. The worst part was hearing the rescue teams. Faint voices and machinery sounds filtered down through the snow on day 2. I screamed until I tasted blood, but they were too far away. They passed directly over me twice, their footsteps vibrating through the snow above my head. I cried frozen tears knowing they couldn't hear me. By day 3, I accepted death. My body temperature was dropping dangerously. I couldn't feel my hands or feet anymore. The air pocket had shrunk to the size of a soccer ball, filled mostly with my own carbon dioxide. Each breath was a struggle. I used my remaining energy to scratch a goodbye message into the ice with my house key, hoping someone would eventually find my body. Then I felt it, a tiny drop of water on my nose. The weather was warming. Spring melt was beginning to soften the avalanche debris. Over several hours, I felt more drips. The snow above me was slowly becoming slush. This was my only chance. Using every ounce of remaining strength, I began the most exhausting work of my life. I clawed at the softening snow above my face, creating handholds to pull myself upward inch by inch. My broken ribs screamed with each movement. Several times I nearly passed out from the effort, but the dripping water kept me motivated. Progress was agonizingly slow. 6 hours of climbing moved me maybe 3 feet upward. My hands were bleeding, fingernails completely torn off from clawing through ice and rocks. But the water drops were getting stronger, and occasionally I glimpsed tiny pinpricks of daylight filtering down. After 18 hours of climbing, my hand broke through the surface. Fresh air rushed into my makeshift tunnel like a drug. I had never felt anything so beautiful as that first breath of mountain air. It took another 4 hours to dig my shoulders and chest free. When I finally emerged, I was on a completely different part of the mountain. The avalanche had carried me over half a mile from where I started. My legs were so frostbitten and damaged I couldn't walk. I crawled for 6 hours through snow until a rescue helicopter spotted me. The medics couldn't believe I was alive. 72 hours buried under 12 feet of snow should have been impossible to survive. I lost 8 toes to frostbite and spent 3 months in the hospital. 2 of my skiing companions were never found. Recovery was brutal. Learning to walk again with missing toes took months of physical therapy. PTSD made me afraid of snow, closed spaces, even cloudy skis. But I'm alive when I shouldn't be, and that makes every day precious. Now I work as an avalanche safety instructor, teaching others to recognize danger signs and proper rescue techniques. Every person I train could be the difference between life and death on the mountain. The Alps tried to bury me forever, but I clawed my way back to life one bloody handful at a time.